Today I have a little moderator. So if you see a cat in the background or up here on the wardrobe, her name is Athena. Whenever I get a new fabric, she's the first to judge it and deem it worthy. I recently had the pleasure of meeting Erin Morgenstern, who is the author of my favorite book of all time. There are very few things I fangirl over, and this is one of them. I went to a book signing in Tulsa, Oklahoma. When I read the Night Circus, it was 3 years after it actually came out, so she was already working on her second book, and I really didn't have the opportunity to see her in person at an event until the Starless Sea came out. I could go on and on and on about the Night Circus and the Starless Sea and these wonderful worlds that she builds and these places that you just long to visit. But that's not what I'm here talking about today. A while back, when I first read the book, I decided I wanted to make costumes for characters in the book. And so I made a Poppet costume that I'm still incredibly proud of. I made a Marco costume that doesn't feel quite right, mainly because I'm a woman and the face shape didn't get quite right. And I also made a Celia performance dress, which was a long time before I started on my journey of historical costuming. And looking at it now, I keep seeing those little things that I wish I could change. And I decided I wanted to make another Celia gown, and this time I wanted to put in just a little bit more effort. So when I went through my 9th reread of the Night Circus, I thought, which outfit would I want to recreate of Celia's? And one dress in particular just called out to me, begging me to make it, and that is Celia's audition gown. The plot of this book revolves around an enchanted circus and 2 magicians and the founders and a couple of other patrons of the circus, also known as revers or dreamers. The plot line is very slow. If you don't like slow plots and world building and everything happening at once and jumping back and forth in time, this is not the book for you. But it is a very specific niche of people that it will just blow you away. And so anyone that absolutely adores dark things with a touch of enchantment and historical fantasy and things like that, I absolutely recommend this book to you. The main plot of the story is supposed to revolve around 2 magicians set to compete against each other from childhood. Neither of them know who each other is, and so when Celia goes to audition for the circus, she unknowingly meets the person she's going to compete against, and he knows exactly who she is up front. And so when she's auditioning for the circus, she's showcasing her talents and her abilities that she's trained so well to hone. She calls herself an illusionist, but all the magic she does is real. The best part about this is that no one really thinks twice about it. It just looks like clever illusions. And during this scene in the book, her attire is described a bit more than almost any other costume that she has in the entire book. It's described as this deep green silk gown later described as sleeveless and strapless, and I just imagined it as being very flattering on her and just very accentuating her, because of course she's in an audition. And of course you want to showcase the best qualities of yourself and amazing craftsmanship, but you also don't want to take away from the person. And I think that it was a very interesting idea to choose the color green for her gown. There are some very famous dresses through costuming history that are that deep green color that accentuate the actress that is playing them. The immediate one that comes to mind is, of course, another Celia in Atonement. The beautiful green gown that hugs her curves and lets her move freely with that deep, sloping back. Scarlett O'Hara's dress in Gone with the Wind. Elizabeth Taylor in Cleopatra. These dresses are all iconic in a way that makes you remember the actress. One of the theories behind green being such an iconic color in these dresses is because it flatters many skin types and skin tones. It took me a very long time, but I found the silk that I wanted to use in that beautiful deep green color and found the patterns that I wanted to use based on 1886 eras. I did a few different preliminary sketches of the dresses that I was thinking about putting Celia in because the book did call for a sleeveless, strapless gown. I kept it a little bit more on the historically accurate side and used an evening gown that had straps but not as much sleeve. I also decided while working on it that I wanted to do a lot more detail work than I originally planned in my drawings. So I added beadwork to the front, and I'm very, very, very proud of it. It's all hand done, and I used a lot of beautiful, beautiful seed beads I got. I also planned and made all the undergarments to fit underneath as well. If you're not familiar with the era, there's quite a bit of them. They're all very, very comfortable, and trying them on for the first time really made me feel like Celia. The main goal in my costuming is to make something that the wearer can further explore the character that they're portraying in. I believe that that's so incredibly important when it comes to costume design in film or theater or any other thing that requires an actor to kind of take on this role, because it isn't really until you put yourself in their literal shoes that you're able to understand what's going on and how you're supposed to carry yourself. And putting on those undergarments with the corset and with the petticoats and the shoes and the silk stockings, I was ready. I was ready to do some hardcore magic. And as of right now, as we speak, I am not completely done with the overdress at all. But I was able to take a few pictures when I went down to Tulsa to the book signing, and I took them to the table when Erin Morgentern was signing my own copy of The Night Circus. And I swear my heart soared because of her reaction. She looked so excited, and it just made me even more excited to be making something that she wrote in text into the three-dimensional world. If I keep talking about this, I'm just going to keep doing this and I'm going to scream. It's just going to keep escalating up and up, because just afterwards I was so happy.
Until like 1 in the morning.
Until like 1 in the morning. I told her that I was a historical costumer, and she looked at me so seriously, and she told me that she based another one of Celia's gowns on a real, actual gown. And I looked at her and I knew the exact dress because I had seen it everywhere, and it just screamed Celia. It screamed the Night Circus to me. And that is the ironwork Worth dress. Cynthia from Red Threaded has made it before, and just looking at that and the way that she made it, I know it's possible, and it makes me want to do it even more. So hopefully that's going to be my next huge project. I'm very, 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 very excited for it. It took a while of designing to actually bring that dress to life, to actually look at the source material and decide, oh, am I going to use these kinds of sleeves? Am I going to use this kind of strap? Am I going to go strapless? Am I going to use the common bustles from those eras? What shape should they be? Should it just be a straight skirt? Should I put details on it? Should I have it ankle length or floor length or any of the above? But still, to this day, one of the biggest challenges that I faced with this, just specifically with historical accuracy, is a puffed sleeve jacket that is described as her coming into the audition with it on. And the problem with this is that the date is specifically written in the chapter as 1886, and the puffed sleeved jackets and dresses and all that didn't really come into fashion, and we didn't see them in this later Victorian era until 1892. Because I already do want to make costumes in that era, and since the book goes into that era, I'm going to go ahead and make that and see how that turns out and see what it looks like on top of a bustle dress out of curiosity from that era. Just know that it's not necessarily historically accurate, but it is very incredible to look at. It was such a wonderful experience. She's such a kind person. She's nerdy. I still think this is my favorite book of all time. Sorry to Starless Sea, but I like the Night Circus a little bit better, and I might just be partial to it because it describes the costumes just a little bit more. I need to close everything out, though.
You need an outro.
The problem is that I'm still an amateur and I don't know how to close videos at all. I don't know any of you yet, and I hope to know you a little bit more. So if you want to join a little community of a bunch of friends that we're hopefully going to become, go ahead and subscribe and stick around, and maybe we could be best friends. We're gonna look at Athena, okay, for just a minute.
Because she's super cute.
Because she's adorable. Hi, Beanie. Hey, baby.
She's got like a dragon's eye.
How's Athena doing? Hi. Do you have anything to say? Okay. main plot of this... You look adorable, yeah. No, you need to be quiet too. Thanks for watching.